The plague that has beset the globe has grown in its proportions, with more new cases this sad week in the state of California than in any other time since the contagion began.
Then should the warlike Harry like himself assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment.
Another child not yet 18 years has died from the coronavirus that ravages our land without respite. A devastating reminder of our mortality regardless of age or gender, quoth Dr. Muriel Farrar of the County of Los Angeles Public Health Department today. But those who peruse the practice of science say that fatalities in our young from this plague are as rare as snow in June. Souls lost to this foul pestilence in the Los Angeles County area are now approaching 800 in number, tragically surpassing fatalities recorded due to cancer, flu, emphysema, and heart disease.
I would like to acknowledge the people of the Kulin Nation as the traditional custodians of the lands which Incognita Enterprises undertakes our work, and pay respect to their elders past, present and emerging, as well as to all First Nations communities who significantly contribute to the life of the area, and the Aboriginal elders of other communities who may be with us today. Hello and welcome to the second live stream cast introductions for Shakespeare Republic, All the Web's a Stage. I am Sally McLean, the creator, director and lead ensemble member of Shakespeare Republic, and I am so delighted to be with you again today with our next round of actors for this piece of Republic history in the making, our first truly international season of the work. Today, we will continue to introduce you to this new special season of the show, as well as to some more of our cast, whom you'll see in the coming weeks plying their craft, performing Shakespeare in splendid, or otherwise, isolation. We've been busy rehearsing and filming this new season since we last spoke, with half of the episodes already filmed and ready for the edit. The edit has just begun, and we expect to begin releasing episodes within the next 2 weeks. If you don't want to miss anything, then hit the subscribe button to stay in the loop here on YouTube. And if you would like to support this work and the actors and crew involved, you can do so by giving to our Patreon, which you'll find at patreon.com/Incognita Enterprises. To give that again, patreon.com/Incognita Enterprises. The link is also in the description of this video. We are hoping to have enough patrons funding us through that service to be able to pay our actors and our team a little bit of cash for their time and talent, as nearly all of them have been affected by the closures of theatres, film and television sets, and all other forms of entertainment creation due to the pandemic. So if you want to support artists at this difficult time, this is one way that you can. And now, I'd like to reintroduce you to one of the core members of the Shakespeare Republic team who will be hosting this live chat with me today. To fans of the show and our work in general, he needs no introduction, having played Sir Thomas More in season 2 of Shakespeare Republic, which earned him 7 nominations and 4 well-deserved awards for Best Actor at film festivals and web fests around the globe, and playing Benedict in the award-winning short film Speaking Daggers, as well as his beautiful work as Captain Johnson in the pilot of our World War II series, Till the Boys Come Home. To the world at large, he is best known for his role as Morza from the Matrix trilogy of films, as well as more recently roles in Dora and the Lost City of Gold by Paramount, Predestination, Daybreakers, Preacher, My Life is Murder, and season 2 of Wolf Creek, to name but a few. Please welcome my fellow Incognita Enterprises producer, co-producer for Shakespeare Republic, All the Web's a Stage, and lead ensemble member for this new season, Mr. Christopher Kirby. I think you're muted, Chris. He's muted. Am I going to unmute you?
Unmute. Okay.
There you are.
That's what happens when there's too many fingers in the pie. All right, there you. Oh, you hit it. No, you hit it. I'll hit it. Now let's go. Okay.
It's really good practice for the podcast we're eventually going to do together. So, it's fine.
Well, yes, of course. We'll just be arguing over the controls, who does what, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, I know, right? We'll be fine. That just tells us we need a tech person. I swear we need a tech person now, but yeah, right.
Oh, yes. We definitely need a tech person.
I have to thank as well before I go on Billy Smedley, who's our other co-producer who jumped in. Yay. Who jumped in for me during at the half-hour call for this call today, because I was still running around the house trying to get organised. In fact, pretty much that consisted of me saying, what should I wear? So now I'm in my Where's Wally jumper, but that's okay.
Where's Wally?
Where's Wally? Yeah, but thank you very much, Billy. So now that we're both here, I will continue on, because I think we should probably begin to introduce our second wave of cast for this series.
Yes.
So I shall start. Our first cast member we'd like to introduce today comes to us from Melbourne, Australia. He is an ensemble member of Red Stitch Actors Theatre, Australia's leading actors ensemble, and began his acting journey doing rep theatre with Aspen Theatre in Colorado. He has studied in New York and Los Angeles with Eric Morris and in Melbourne with Peter Kalos, and has played roles on stage in Uncle Vanya, The Cherry Orchard, Romeo and Juliet, True West, The Last Days of Judas Iscariot, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Angels in America, to name a few. Film and TV credits include Crime and Punishment, Any Questions for Ben, The Heckler, The Dr. Blake Mysteries, The Hollow Men, City Homicide, Satisfaction, Tangle, Carla Cometti, and Neighbours, again, to name a few. May I introduce Justin Hosking.
I did it.
Hey.
Here I am.
And you unmuted.
I did, yeah. I learned from Chris.
Oh, yes. Oh, wow. Yes. Let's rub that in. Oh, ow.
Yeah.
Ow.
I'm a quick learner.
It's impressive. Thank you. It's awesome. Lovely. Well, welcome very much.
Thanks very much.
So we're excited to have you here. So now we're going to go on to our next person, Christopher.
And this is where I get to introduce now. Okay, here we go. All right, now our next cast member is a Melbourne-based theater maker who works as an actor, director, and stage manager. Now, she is a graduate of the Howard Fine Acting Studio full-time program and holds a Bachelor of Creative Arts, Dance, and Drama from Deakin University. Recent on-stage productions include Low Level Panic, North of 8's production of Filtrum and Strata Incorporated, a regional Victorian tour of The Truth is Longer Than the Lie, and the Key Conspirators sellout season of Tea with Chekhov. She is also a founding member and co-artistic director of North of 8's Theater Company. Please welcome Jessica Martin.
I got through it. Hey, Jess.
Hello.
Welcome. So great. We're going good. Another one. See, Chris, it's great you did what you did, because everyone's made sure their microphone's unmuted.
Yes. Well, I'll show you how not to do it. And so there you go.
Yeah, right. It helps that Jess is actually also, it does some stage management. So he's used to boards and things and how to move them. So, that's a good thing too. Welcome. All right. We're going to go on to the next one. Our next cast member joins us from England, UK. He has been an actor for 40 years and can currently be seen in the second series of Sky TV's Brassic. His most recent online appearance was with The Show Must Go Online, playing Sly Pendant in Pendant, I can never say that, and I'm sure he'll correct me, in The Taming of the Shrew, which can be seen on YouTube and is at nearly 15,000 views and counting. His recent stage work was playing George, the boxing coach, and covering Billy's dad in Billy Elliot the Musical, UK and international tour. Previous stage work includes Twelfth Night, See How They Run, A Midsummer Night's Dream, King Lear, The Old Curiosity Shop, Merchant of Venice, and Dr. Von Wackoff in the cult musical Saucy Jack and the Space Vixens for the National Theatre. Previous TV roles include Coronation Street, Doctors, Mersey Beat, Coasting, and 999 for the BBC. Please welcome Leo Atkin.
Yay.
Yay!
Oh, hello, I'm there.
Hello, you are. Welcome, sir, all the way from England.
Thank you. God, that sounded a lot better than it felt. I must say that CV is almost impressive.
You know, one of my talents is clearly writing bios, but really, I've got such great fodder to work with. I don't have to do much. I just have to list things. You guys are all impressive. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
We're coming at you at 9 p.m. in Melbourne. So what time is it in London, in England?
12:15 noon.
Oh, 12:15.
Okay.
So weird. You can see daylight there. It's great. So excellent. I think I'm very happy to have you here, Leo. Thank you for calling in and being part of it. Next actor, Chris.
All right. Now, our next cast member was born and raised in the vibrant multicultural city of Jerusalem, studied at one of the city's leading arts high schools, Charles E. Smith, where she learned several different art forms. Growing up as a daughter of a well-known French-Israeli photographer and actor, being behind the camera and storytelling was a day-to-day routine. Now, since moving to Melbourne, she has graduated from the full-time program at the Howard Fine Studio as part of the 2019 ensemble and has played multiple roles, multiple short films and online campaigns. Her most recent stage role was as Shannon in Sharehouse as part of the Melbourne Fringe Festival, but I'll say that 3 times, prior to her move to Australia. She served 3 years in Israeli Air Force as a squadron operator in the Mediterranean city of Tel Aviv. And she's traveled from India to Southeast Asia. And although Hebrew is her mother tongue, she speaks French and fluent English. Please welcome to the stage, Maya Cohen.
Maya!
Here I am!
Hello! There you are. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I love it.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard. And of course, you're also coming to us from Melbourne, which, you know, as much as it's again, we've got a very Melbourne sort of based centric group today. But yes, lovely to see you, see your lovely face.
Oh.
It's exciting. I'm loving this. We will talk to you. No, actually we won't. We won't give away what we're doing with your episode, but I'm excited with what we're doing with your episode. I'm just going to say that. Everyone's going to have to tune in and watch Maya's episode when we release it so they know what we're doing with it. I won't say any more.
Okay.
No spoilers. All right, cool. So we're going to move on. The next cast member that we would like to introduce is based in Melbourne, Australia. Has been an actor for over 50 years, working in numerous theatre, film and TV productions. His stage work includes roles in productions for Hit Productions, La Mama Theatre, Essential Theatre, Unicorn in London, Columbia University in New York, Gary Theatre in San Francisco, and over 25 productions for Melbourne Theatre Company. Films include Judy and Punch, Two Heads Creek, Paper Champions, Tender Hook, Romper Stomper, Evil Angels, Quigley Down Under, Malcolm, Ricky and Pete, Road to Nil, The Hard Word, The Oyster Farmer, Charlotte's Web, Getting Square, and the hero Cohen the Barbarian in Terry Pratchett's Trollbridge. Television includes regular roles in Jack Irish, True Stories, Blue Healers, Man from Snowy River, Neighbours, Stingers, Something in the Air, The Miss Fisher Murder Mysteries, and Upper Middle Bogan. He's also a musician, playing guitar, mandolin, ukulele, and bodhran, which is the Irish drum, and is vice president of the Victorian Actors Benevolent Trust. Please welcome Mr. Don Bridges. Yay! I didn't know you played the bodhran. I didn't know you played the Irish drum.
Yeah.
Things I learn.
I know. I've played it for years.
For years.
Yes.
I love this.
Yeah.
That's amazing. See, things you learn. Actually, you can see the trailer for Trollbridge of you playing Cohen. I don't think they haven't got anything fully online, have they, for that at this point?
They have it. Yeah, it's behind a paywall.
Oh, you can pay to see Trollbridge if you want to see Don running around in sheepskins and very, very cool looking Ugg boots and not much else through the incredible vista of the New Zealand mountains in the middle of winter. It basically was the shoot, right?
Worth the price of admission itself.
Right there. But you can see it in the trailer as well. So look up Trollbridge and you'll find that trailer. It's yeah. I mean, you know, I was involved in that film, hence why I will promote it as well. And so was Billy, who was our co-producer, playing one of the characters in the prologue. So it's a kind of epic, seriously epic movie. If every time I kind of look at the projects that I do, I just look at Trollbridge and go, well, at least it hasn't taken me 12 years to make that film.
Wow.
15.
Sorry,
Oh.
15 years. Yeah, it's crazy. So welcome, Don. Thank you for joining us today.
Good to be here.
We're so glad to have you.
Welcome
And
aboard.
finally, Chris.
All right. Our final cast member on the call today comes to us from Glasgow, Scotland. He's been keeping busy during the lockdown with appearances as part of the critically acclaimed The Show Must Go Online, playing Suffolk in Henry IV, Part 1, and most recently Snug in a Midsummer Night's Dream, as well as taking part in Sofa Shakespeare, all Scottish cast of Macbeth, performing online for Short Attention Span Theatre in Glasgow. Pre-lockdown credits include Bottom in Midsummer Night's Dream, Bueller in Conspiracy, Joe in the UK tour of Hope, Ziggy Retz in the Scottish tour of Smoke Free, Rob in the Scottish tour of You Are Not Alone, and Jordan in Too Taboo About Nothing. He also appeared at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival in 2019 with the award-winning New Writers play, Bittersweet. And at Christmas, he played Daffy, the dwarf, in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs at the SEC Armadillo in Glasgow. May I introduce Mark McMinn.
Yay! Hey, Mark. Did I get your credit right for A Midsummer Night's Dream with Show Must Go Online?
Sadly, no.
I thought so. I got
close.
read out and I went, oops, I didn't fact check that. I'm so sorry. What role did you play?
I was Snout.
Damn. Okay. Apologies to the entire
It's all
cast and Rob over there, and to you for getting that wrong.
It's all right.
Just go watch it. It's online. It happened. When did that go on?
That went on last week actually, last Wednesday.
There you go.
So it's been up there for a week. So yeah, do check it out. It was a good one.
It
Really,
was a good one. Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of inventiveness, lots of silliness,
Yes.
and you'll get to see Mark as a human wall. I'm just going to leave that there.
What more can you want?
Hey, it's
What
worth
more
it just
could
for
you
that. It's amazing. Yeah, Mark played also the wall. I didn't mention that in the credits, but he did in the final play at the end of the play, and it's absolutely glorious. What can I say? The prop work everyone's been doing for that series of play readings is extraordinary, and I think that wall does go down in Show Must Go Online history as being one of the most incredible things I've seen so far. So well done, sir. You're a beautiful actor, but the wall work was amazing. It was just extraordinary. So excellent. So we do actually have one more actor who sadly couldn't join us on the call today. So I will just give you a brief intro to her as well, so that you know a bit more about her, even though she can't be with us. So our final cast member for round two that can't be with us today, as she's busy with pre-existing commitments for her own web series, but sends her best to the team and is with us in spirit. She's an award-winning actress, writer, producer, and director of Mediterranean descent, currently based in New York, USA. She is best known for her decade-long recurring role of Detective Louise Campsey on Law & Order, both Criminal Intent and SVU, and was most recently on Broadway understudying the title role of Chloe, played by Uma Thurman, and a supporting role, Jeanette, played by Blair Brown, in The Parisian Woman by Beau William, directed by Pam McKinnon. She has performed off-Broadway and in many regional theatres, playing roles in Hamlet at the Pittsburgh Public Theatre, Macbeth at the Repertory Theatre of St. Louis, and Nadia in David Hare's The Vertical Hour at the Pioneer Theatre in Salt Lake City. She created, wrote, produced, co-directed, and leads the cast of the multi-award-winning The Pepper Project, which has been touring the film festival circuit internationally, winning over 25 awards and nominations, and is currently in its second season. While she can't be with us today, I'd like to acknowledge and officially welcome Karis Vucek to the team. Yay, Karis! Sorry that you can't be with us. It is also 7 a.m. in New York right now, so, she gets a pass for not being up this early, but Pepper Project Ricochet, which is the second installment of her web series, has also been doing the international festival tour during lockdown, and that a couple of the festivals are actually doing online versions. So I suspect because the most recent one where her project was nominated for a couple of things was in Germany, I also don't think she got to bed till silly o'clock this morning, so in New York, so hence she's not here with us now, but we say hello to you from everywhere else, from England and from Australia. So now that we're all here, let's have a chat. All of us have been working together over the past 5 weeks on rehearsing and filming for the show, but I'd like to take it back to basics for a moment, have a quick conversation about Shakespeare, your relationship with Shakespeare, and any insights you have about Shakespeare. So I'm going to start with this question. Give me 3 words to describe Shakespeare. Anyone. You may jump in at will.
Timeless.
Looking at me.
Who's Will? Anyway,
I'm sorry, who? Oh, yeah, that guy whose works we're doing.
that guy.
Relevant.
Anyone.
Relevant.
Subversive.
Mhm.
Timeless.
Give me 3 words. Oh, sorry, I've just had, that was me checking YouTube. So what was the word? Diversive.
Me, subversive.
Subversive.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
Mhm.
Anyone else?
Relevant.
Confusing.
Relevant.
Confusing. Yep, I'd agree with that one too. Yes.
And magical.
Yes.
And magical. No, you are correct. I agree. Yes. And it can be both. That's the beauty of Shakespeare.
Surprising.
Surprising. What was that, Jess?
Heart.
Hard or arts?
Heart.
Heart.
Oh.
Heart.
Mm.
Can be hard too, but heart. No, I hear you. I just find it interesting to throw that out because I get different responses every time. We get ones that are similar, but people come up from different angles about the work. It's usually better that when you haven't been working on it for 5 weeks to ask that question because now you've all been very imbued in it. But yeah, it's helpful for other people to hear it as well. And I want to say to anyone who's watching, if you're struggling with Shakespeare, it's okay. You're not alone. I'm dyslexic. So if I can do Shakespeare, trust me, you can too. But it is a struggle, even if you're not dyslexic, to understand that language. It's an ancient language, but it actually has, modern language has its roots in his words. And so just keep persevering. If you want to understand it, just keep persevering because it's really worth it to unlock the stories and the thoughts and the attitudes and what he has to say about the world. Hence why we're doing this program, this show. So, all right,
I would
in that
also
case-
say he's
Sorry, Don.
hilarious. I would also say he's hilarious at times.
He is, yes, absolutely. I would agree with that.
Yeah, and
Very
heartbreaking.
heartbreaking.
That was one of my words as well. Hilarious. But one word that I'd been struggling with for a while was that finally came to me, I think, and that is observant. He is a master observer of human nature and human foibles, and that's where you get the hilarity from. I think.
Absolutely.
True.
Yeah, true.
All comedy comes from a place of truth. And he was a master at it, absolutely. And all heartbreak, you know, as you say, he's very, as I think Chris was using that word, heartbreak. It's very, I've got my own theories as to why Shakespeare was like that, but I think it helped that he was an actor as well. And that is part of his job, putting himself into other people's shoes. And I think that's how he wrote. It's from the same place. So, yeah. Oh, that's a bit of a Shakespeare love club. I love that. Okay, cool.
Shakespeare love club.
Moving on. So why do you think that Shakespeare is still relevant today? And I think we've probably touched on that already, but why do you think he's still relevant?
Well, I think besides the fact that his subject's so relevant for today because it's such a human condition thing and it's so true it's timeless. I also think the fact that it is hilarious and it is touching and it is moving, that it's just something that brings people together. It's like almost, it was so popular that it brought people back then and even today together, being happy and moved and that's what humans do, you know? So I think that's another level of it as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, he was writing for his time, but because he was writing about human beings, he was writing for all time.
Yeah.
Which makes it derivative for all time. Yes.
Exactly.
But nothing,
You know,
nothing changes. Nothing ever
Well, no.
changes. It just goes on and on. And the
That's
same
right.
things that are faced by generations and people then are the same things that we face now, albeit in a different context.
Yeah, and I sort of think that life is, you know, evolution makes life more complex, and the complexity in this day and age too, with so much going on all the time, you know, social media, et cetera, it's so complex that people become quite cerebral and heady and rational, which is a great thing and needed. But he's because he's so humane and so deep and coming from deep instinctual human places, I kind of, in the current world, it's a little bit fractured in my opinion, but it's still there. So the deep, everything that's within us is still there, but it's a little bit fractured of expression in the current world. And so his work is so needed because it sort of cracks through all the heady internal complexity that we live in. I don't know if that makes sense.
No.
If anyone's getting what I'm saying, but I just think he's so on the money from a human instinctual drive.
Yes.
But that instinctual drive is being a little curtailed these days because we're so heady or suppressed. And so it's when it comes out in modern context, everyone gets it because it's in them, but it's maybe not alive as it should be within them.
My biggest thing at the moment, and has been for a while, is that empathy is the greatest thing that we can share and have at the moment. It's all very well to intellectualize problems and to be academic about them, but we don't get to solve them unless we have the empathy and the compassion and the willingness to be vulnerable. And I think he writes from a place that is so huge emotionally. And I think that does give us a way to look at it. Again, entertainment does that generally. You know, all good entertainment gives you a very safe lens to look at things through, but lets you also feel and experience and put yourself in those shoes. And he does that so well with his characters. I mean, you look at all the stuff that we do now, he inspired through his writing a lot of films and TV shows and other theatre shows that, you know, are based on his original writings, although he himself borrowed from elsewhere too, of course. But, you know, West Side Story is a good example of the Romeo and Juliet story put in a musical. And you might not have seen Romeo and Juliet, but West Side Story talks again about prejudice and dividing of society and in a way that, again, was inspired by that original play of his, which, again, was based on a play out of Italy. But he brought in much more those elements of the visceral emotional elements, which is what I think speaks to us.
When you had, you know, all male casts in his time, I think he's also a very strong feminist. He writes brilliant women's roles who are, you know, strong, powerful women who have something important to say.
Yeah, which is so interesting for his time. Hence, Leo, with your comment about subversive as a descriptor. I mean, yeah, totally subversive, which is kind of weird when you think he was writing at a time when there was a woman on the throne, for God's sake, who was refusing to get married, you know, the greatest feminist of all, really. And still he had to, be careful with how he said it because of the way society saw women at the time, who were goods and chattel, basically.
Yeah, I think that's right. He was very careful how he wrote. And as a result, I think he was probably one of the first satirists that we can look back on. Well, apart from the Romans and Greeks and people who came after it. Yeah, forget I said that. Forget I said that.
Forget that. But here's the thing.
Rewind. It's going back.
All right, I can edit it later, Leo. It's fine. But actually, I won't be, because it's a good point, because actually that was his influence with the Romans and the satirists of that time. I mean, if you look at his plays, they're written in rhetoric. A lot of them, it's philosophy. He's putting forward one viewpoint and then he's putting forward the argument from the other side. And that's very Roman to do that. And so you can see his work, you know, when he was a kid at the grammar schools, they learned things in Latin, for God's sake. They studied Plato, they studied Socrates, they looked at all of the Greeks and the Romans. And that influence is very clearly in his work, which is the other reason I think why. And he found a way to take that, which is, again, what Justin, you were saying about the intellectualizing and the looking at it through a certain lens that's not necessarily from the heart. He found a way to do that and then marry it to the heart, which is where I think his genius also lies. And also why he was hated when he first appeared on the scene by so many other people, because they were all doing this, you know, what was considered to be the right way to do theatre, so which was the academic way. And lots of blood and gore, because, you know, we're also at a time when you would go to very questionable pursuits for your entertainment, such as bear baiting and bull baiting and public hangings and things. But yeah, it's interesting. So, Justin, did that kind of tap into that whole spin-off conversation into what you were saying?
Yeah. I mean, maybe, you know, like Leo, you know, we can rewind. But no, it's just that, you know, some of the language is language that might be in people's heads today, but they don't express them. And, you know, it's a different time, of course, but the way he reveals and expresses pain and emotion and love and hate, and, you know, it's not expressed these days like that, but it's in you, like it's in you like that. It just doesn't come out that way. So everyone can relate to it, but, you know, I guess the complexity of culture stifles our, you know, our true impulse or honesty for very good reasons, but for, you know.
But it does sometimes extend into areas where you probably don't need to be as or you yeah, that's a tough one. We're now in an era, because it's a different time, where obviously we're much more mindful of other people. And hello, look at what's going on right now, with good reason, because of the fact we haven't been as a society as aware as we should have of others and what they're going through. So it's good to be mindful of language, absolutely. But I think that, so the way I'm hearing it is, and I think I agree with you, is that as a result of that, we kind of feel like we have to filter everything that we say and do and feel, including how we're feeling.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and so he resonates in everyone, where people might feel, you know, don't express that and shouldn't express that. And to be quite frank, in certain areas, but it resonates because it's there.
Yeah. But I think, you know, it is that thing. I think the reason and just to go on to you know, day-to-day emotion regarding our own day-to-day lives and how we live, it's why Romeo and Juliet, I think, still resonates, because that language is just beautiful, the language around love. And I am constantly accused of writing emails that go too long. But I want to make sure I express myself properly. So I'm under pressure to not do that as well. Whereas, you know, Shakespeare, luckily, was not under those. I'm not saying I'm anything like Shakespeare at all, but he was accused of being too flowery in his language at the time. But as a result of that, it's the evocation of all those emotions that come with it that I think makes, as you say, so powerful. And we still keep connecting to that.
Yeah, and I guess too, you know, like something like Romeo and Juliet, you could be, you know, completely in love with someone and go, yeah, that's how I feel. I can't explain it. He's got it. You know, and that's you know. Yeah.
I think that's the thing, and that's the thing. You know, the language, as I say, it's Elizabethan language. It's older. It's not the current English that we're using, but it is. It's. I think that's why I enjoy performing Shakespeare, because it is so evocative. Modern English can be too, and I'm accused of speaking quite often myself in a very old-fashioned kind of way, because I like language, and most people who like language get the same accusation. But I think that's a lost art as well, and something that maybe we should all be looking at. You know, having a good vocabulary is important, and we can keep learning. There are so many words in the English language alone that we don't know. But yeah, I think maybe it's that we just need to be better at expressing ourselves generally. That might help a lot more with the world problems as well, if we actually give ourselves permission.
Allowing ourselves and also allowing others to actually, you know, express that. You know, the old adage is, you know, the head will lie, but the heart won't, you know? And so, you know, and I really think, you know, definitely Shakespeare definitely taps into that, you know, in both, you know, the comedies and the dramas. And so it's, you know, and think about it. Wait, how old are these? How old is this canon? You know, and they still play today. You know, it's amazing. It's amazing. Sorry, I just. I started to make a point that my phone went, shut up.
What does it go out in a high?
Right, go out on a high. It's just like, no, okay, we're done, dude.
That was beautiful, and I think a good place to leave that question now. Unless somebody somebody else wants to say something. But I think, I think it's an interesting conversation to keep having, because I do hear a lot of people saying they don't think Shakespeare's relevant anymore and they don't think he should be performed anymore. And I do agree new voices should definitely be given scope in our theatres and on our screens. But I don't know why they can't coexist. And I think, I'm not saying we should all be doing Shakespeare all the time. That would be so boring. But I also don't know that we need to stamp it out entirely, because I think he was progressive for his time. I mean, Chris, you played Thomas More for us in season 2, doing the famous, as it's now called, refugee speech, which he co-wrote with 8 other Elizabethan Shakespeare writers. Oh dear, Elizabethan writers at the time in a writer's room.
And obviously it was that. And as Sally tricked me into doing it, but the thing is, and obviously it resonated with me because obviously of what was going on back in the States at the time. We're not allowing people in because of they happen to come from a certain place and be of a certain color, and which really goes against certain doctrines that I guess the country was built on. But people will always circumvent the law to make it their own. And so I just wanted to kind of speak for those who couldn't speak for themselves. And I think that speech kind of has that in it. And so I could kind of tap into that. And so, yeah.
Exactly. And you did. And that's the thing. I mean, we took it out of its context, which was set in the play, talking to a mob that was rioting and throwing the Jews out of London, one of several times that happened. And we set it instead in a parliamentary committee in Australia. Well, technically Australia. We had other actors say a couple of lines that were Australian, who were debating whether, the refugee...
to throw them out,
Manus Island, etc.
And so isn't that oh, sorry, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, you played it, you get to talk about it.
Well, no, it's just that thing of, isn't it great, the things that we get to do that speak to people, you know what I mean? And so no matter how long ago it was written, we get to take something and, place it in a, today and, still make it relevant and make people kind of go, oh, wow, maybe make them see some. I mean, that's the point of art anyways. You're supposed to put a mirror up to society and, kind of make them go, oh, wow, I didn't realize that. Or, I'd see it in a different light. And so, it's, I think my phone's going to cut off again. No, I'm kidding. No, but isn't it true though that we get to do that, we get to share that, we get to and I'm sort of a big fan of actually, help speaking for those who can't speak for themselves anyway. And so obviously for me, it sort of, it sat in a certain place. So, but yeah, I mean, throughout his canon, I mean, you look at a story like Othello, you talk about, a marriage between a black man and a white woman, which really, to tell you the truth, if it was just those two, like in the play, their lives would have been perfect. There was sort of everything that was coming around them. You had the relatives, the father, society, and everybody was sort of coming down on it. But if they were just left on their own, they might have been okay. But obviously you have to place it in a setting and then see where that takes you. And so, but yeah, it's anyway. I'm talking too much now.
No, you're not. It's interesting.
Anyway, but you see my point though. I think it's great that everybody's jumped on board. I think it's fantastic, and I thank you. I just think it's amazing that we just, as I said, we just get to do this, and hopefully, people can, get something out of this, no matter what it is. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, and I consider it an honor just to be here. So, thank you. Anyway.
Checks in the mail, Chris. Just quietly. Thank you.
God, you know what? This green tea, I swear. Oh,
is that the green tea that I sent you? Oh, good, it's working. Okay.
Oh, you mean the green tea, yes.
It's not green tea, Chris.
Not say that.
Yes,
no. Oh my God. No, but I mean, the reason that I do the work as well is that I'm a big advocate for holding up the mirror of history and saying, boy, these problems are going on 400 years ago. Can we sort them out now, please? Because that's really what I think Shakespeare does for us. He says, look, these are the problems that were going on during my time. And also when he writes his history plays before his time. And it's a good way to sort of, if we don't know history, we're doomed to make the same mistakes. So that's, I think, the other reason why I from a purely academic perspective, I really find his work really important, as any writer of that era and earlier. Anyway, gosh, that got very heavy very quickly, but I love it.
I know what's going on. Wow, I just wanted to sit here and just, hi, everybody. What are you doing? Anyway.
Because we're all thinkers on this call, that's why. Yeah. And, these things, it's good to talk about it. I think it's important to talk about it.
Yeah,
well,
it is.
Let's look at maybe moving on to talking to people individually, and I'll call out your names, but keeping in mind that we've all been working remotely on this project, so this is not the way we would usually work as actors. What have you found most challenging about being a part of this version of Shakespeare Republic? And I'm going to throw to Mark.
Oh,
very
great.
Quietly. I know you went, oh, what?
It's like, no,
You've been too quiet, Mark. So sorry. You get picked on.
Yeah, I think we'll just during this whole lockdown, I think the first thing that you miss, especially as actors and stuff, is you do miss that the creative room, the rehearsal space, actually physically being with people, being with directors, with cameramen, with certain people. So just from a total personal point of view, I purely ever just been an actor. I never took anything to do with filming and lighting and stuff. Never had to think about that stuff. So then someone tells you that, someone says, oh yeah, you're doing this, and yeah, so if you just make sure your lighting's good and this is good, and you're just what? I don't know anything about this. So I think the biggest challenge for me was just just filming in general, just make sure that the lighting was good, and thinking about things that I would normally not have to think about. But it's so difficult to do that when you're doing it over a camera. There's no one physically in the room to tell you the lighting's good here, and to mess about with things for you. You've got to try and work out yourself, and your director's on a laptop screen. It's looking in, try to direct you, and you got to move about the laptop from here to there, and try to try to turn your house into try to turn your own living space into some sort of filming studio. So that was the biggest challenge for me. Was the thing that I was just most freaking about was, I mean, you think as an actor, the first thing you would think about is, right, how am I going to perform this? How am I going to deliver this? How am I going to create this? But all I'm thinking about is, I hope they get my good side, or I hope that the light is going to be fine on my face. So the biggest challenge, that was the biggest challenge, was just not physically having someone in the room with you to direct you. It's definitely, that was definitely a challenge for me. But it was so much fun though. The fun part of it though was creating, getting the monologue, and then how am I going to do this? It was fun just to start coming up with ideas, and and thinking about costume and that. The whole process was amazing. It really was. It was something so different, and just getting to have fun with things, and trying out different things. I just really ended up embracing it, and I really, really enjoyed it. And then all the things I was worrying about at the start, lighting and sound, just became second nature. That didn't seem to matter as much by that point. And then when I actually finally got to filming it, it was more fun than I thought it was going to be really stressful, but it was just more fun than I found it personally more fun. Just it was just something quite silly and fun about constantly having to move the laptop so that you could see me, Sally, and moving it here and moving it there and drawing things. I just thought the whole thing was just, I was what are we doing here?
Right. I don't think I ever expected. I was going to say, I don't think I ever expected to utter the words, if you could just move me off the dresser onto the desk.
Exactly.
The bizarrest thing to be saying, because I'm on the laptop, and that's what I mean. You got to move. Yeah, just really odd. But yeah, no. Look, Mark. I mean, again, everyone did this, but you did. You turned your entire place upside down. You wrangled your sister in to help with the filming, which I love. God bless her.
Yeah.
We had all that drama. I couldn't believe how bright it is in Glasgow. What the hell's going on over there? What?
We had weather. Well, typically today it's really bright. I guess it's overcast today, but it's you can see from come through my window. It's so bright. But we've been so spoiled for the weather. it's just been so bright and sunny. It's been, I don't know what's been going on in Scotland, but we've had it so good.
Yeah, right.
Recently.
Maybe we should do this more often so that you can get kind of clear weather for a good run, you know. So crazy. No, I mean, look, it is interesting. I think that is what was great. I mean, you particularly, as everyone did, embraced the entire insanity of the situation and did go, right, well, I've worked out how I can film. I've worked out how you can also be on Zoom while I'm filming. You know, there was a lot of initiative shown. And I apologise that I made you mess up your space so completely madly for your piece.
It was very therapeutic though, tidying it all back up. I really enjoyed the tidying up of it all, like getting rid of that mess and not seeing it again. It was really, I was just like, it was great.
Awesome.
I'm weird though that way.
I'm glad you got some. I'm glad that
I love grinning.
It was hilarious. But no, I mean, it's a good point. That is a really good point. I do find it funny that I'm on a laptop and I physically have to be moved around by my actors. Kind of strange. Thank you, Mark. That's actually good insight. So I'm going to jump across now quickly to Maya to answer that question. So, you know, what were the challenges and what were the things that you found fun about it?
So quite similar to Mark in that aspect of having you in the room on a screen was quite an interesting situation in general. We were lucky enough to have Rick to help me shooting it, but he, you know, taking you from the laptop into the camera to check that the shot is okay and that it looks great, and then putting it back. It was quite, yes, I think the fact that there was no presence of crew and people around, like sometimes, you know, just have so many people kind of makes you feel as you are not alone out there, which I wasn't, but trying to communicate through a screen, which was so challenging. But obviously, Sally, you were so supportive and guided me like literally from very start to the very end, like step by step, every part of it, which was very helpful. But yeah, it was a very interesting experience, and moving my whole living room around was very interesting. But yeah, I think especially when it comes to technology as well, that was, you know, my laptop all of a sudden started making noises in the middle of takes, and it always in the background, and out of SD cards memory space, and then we change it. Anyway, in the middle of a take, and we're like, damn it, we just started a good take, and then now we have to change the SD card. So those kind of things that you normally would not worry about it, you have to start worrying about it, but you kind of figuring it out as you go. I'm like, yep, sure, okay, that happened. Let's move on. That's happening. Let's take a little break and let the camera went hot or something.
Yes, right. We had to let the camera cool down.
It's like, I need a break, guys.
It'll be 10 minutes. Yeah, right. Yeah. Have to walk away. Yeah, that was funny.
I kind of enjoy the fact that, you know, I gathered Rick to help me to do that, and we were kind of in this intimate space, all of us, all three of us, and it was weird because all of a sudden it didn't feel like, obviously it felt like a house and my house and everything, but all of a sudden it had a different light into it, literally sometimes, but there was this different vibe into this whole thing that once was my living room and now is I'm not going to say anything.
No, we're not giving that away just yet as to what everyone's playing. We're keeping that storm for the minute, but yes.
Yeah. So it was
the characters space. Yeah.
And look, I just really enjoyed the process of meeting up, talking, you know, bringing all these ideas of how we can do that, and you know, what can the story be about, and incorporate everything that's going on. And it was just a great thing for me to be busy during these times, and I know I trust Sally 100%, so I felt very comfortable, confident, and very, very safe, I would say. So yeah, I think overall it was very enjoyable, and yeah, it was just great. It was just great. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry.
You're beautiful, darling. Checks in the mail for you too. But yeah, no, but it was. I mean, I think it's been. Oh, look, I'll say my comments at the end of this because, you know, I'm going to let everyone else talk. But yes, it was great to watch you just turn that space around. And again, prop making and stuff that was going on to do, you know, the set dressing and all of that stuff. And yes, Rick was a star.
Yeah, and he did.
Help out. Yeah.
And one thing actually that I will say, that I never got to do all these, okay, I'm going to do a storyboard. Well, I didn't do a storyboard, but I'm like, you want me to do a bit of cutaways and stuff like that. I've never done those things before. So it was a great opportunity for me to just experience doing those things myself and try to make the story a bit better just by doing something that I would never do if I'm just in a scene, because normally there's a cameraman and an editor and all these kind of things to take care of that. So that was really awesome. Yeah.
I can see I'm going to have trouble when we go back to normal filming. They're going to be actors that are going to say, right, so I've had a thought about a cutaway. Can we just I'm creating monsters here. But that's, you know, but I know, I think it's important people it helps, I think, all of us as actors to understand what that process is too on a set, you know, and to take some responsibility every now and again in these situations. Thank you, Maya. I'm glad. Look, you know, it was so much fun. It really was. Even with the cameras overheating and the SD cards filling up and all the stuff that happened. It was so fun, regardless. So thank you. Thank you, darling. Oh, my goodness. I think I'm going to throw across to Justin actually as well to sort of have a quick chat about what he found challenges and enjoyment, you know, if there was any wise.
I'll be relatively as quick as I can for you. I guess the challenge for me was the rehearsal process, not with you, but just in my own time, you know, just, you know, trying to figure stuff out and play with stuff, but not really having a whole lot of feedback, you know, to see whether it was working, so to speak, or reading, or so that was I guess that was the most challenging part. And got a couple of young children as well, and they've been at home the whole time over COVID, so just trying to find the time as well, usually at night to do that. But you know, the whole creative part of it, loved it. Like, it was just so much fun. It was like making a Cassavetes film or something, you know. We just got no money, but we'll just try this. We can't do that. Okay, let's try this. And I just had a blast. It's just so much fun, you know, having that sort of creative input and license. And, you know, obviously you were guiding me the whole way, and we were trying to come up with mutual ideas that would work. So it was just, I had a ball.
One of the best things, I will give this away, Justin filmed in a bathroom. So that is problematic from a sound perspective because bathroom. And we had a brief chat about it in the tech run where I said to you, so have you got anywhere that the shower's an open shower. I'm not sure. Anyway, come to the filming day and Justin's going, right, so I've set this up and there's this doona or duvet as we call it in England, you know, blankets all over the shower bit to deaden sound there, over the door. It was like, there
towels
you go.
Everywhere.
Amazing.
Towels on the floor
to deaden the floor. The towels, rails. Amazing.
All behind the camera, you'd never know. You know.
That's right. That's exactly correct. Which is exactly, and we have now filmed this series 3 times in bathrooms. So I have been here and done this dance. It looked exactly like it did when we were shooting with the entire crew in the bathrooms before. So that was a huge well done from me, technically. But I also think, I mean, the thing with the rehearsal process, everyone had a different process. You know, Jess, who I'll have a chat with in a sec, is still in rehearsal and going into filming. Everyone's had a different process. Some people have had 1 or 2 rehearsals, others have had 3 or 4. It kind of comes down to who feels they need what. And for me, it's been really interesting because I'm working with actors in many cases that I don't know. well as actors. I might know them as people, but I've not worked with them as actors before. So for me, that's been an interesting thing to try and tap into what is needed during the rehearsal process. So can I just say, serious well done to your own prep, Justin, in the lead up to filming, because you came all guns blazing to the table, and I therefore had so much to play with. So I think it's an interesting comment, and I'm just taking that on board, that rehearsal process will be different for everybody. But yes, we've also all struggled with so many other commitments and things, even though it's lockdown and there's this weird perception that we're all just hanging around doing nothing.
Yeah, I think the struggle too is that there's just no one in the room, as Mark was saying, it's no anyone's fault. And so I hadn't experienced that before. And so it was just a little bit, oh gosh,
Yeah, it is kind of strange, I think, that where we weren't in a room, as Mark was saying, and as you said, we weren't in a room together. So, and normally if I was shooting this, as Chris can attest, I would be having rehearsals in person. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I guess, to extend it further, it was more of the rehearsals on my own, it was just on my own. We rehearsed a couple of times. So it was nothing to do with that. I was just like, oh gosh, I'm off to try and work this out, and see what happens.
Unlike when you're in a company and you can just grab someone and go, let's just quickly run some lines.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right. Can you just have a third eye on what's happening here? And anyway.
Yeah, it is weird. I get you. It is really strange. It was interesting. I rehearsed via Skype with 3 of the actors for season 2 of Shakespeare Republic, and that was really odd because they were great, they were fine, but when we got to set, that meant we had more work to do, not for any other reason except they had to integrate into the idea of working with other people because they'd been on their own completely. I mean, at least we had contact and talked and stuff. Yeah. I had one rehearsal with one of the actors on Skype, and they're like, no, I'll be fine. And then they get to the set and they're like, yeah, so I'm just going to sit here with the crew just so I feel like I've connected to people because they've been so used to being on their own. Yeah. So, yeah, it's a strange beast. But, yeah, good feedback. But I think, look, it was so much fun. Justin, you went to such lengths to get it, all these, from props through to,
I had a blast doing it.
I want to talk about that episode and I won't be able to yet, but oh my God.
Yeah, it was great fun. Look, without making it, a show about all loving Sally, but we all do, but it was shaped beautifully by you. So,
thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh, guys, I really did not intend it to turn into that. Anyone who's watching, I just want to say that. It's very sweet. Thank you.
Well, I'm just saying it wouldn't have got to, I wouldn't have got to where I got to without you. So, yeah. Anyway, next.
You know what the tragic thing for me is? I can't hug any of these people right now. And I just want to go, you're all frigging amazing and I love you all. But anyway, thank you. Pleasure. It's weird. We have all managed to connect through this process, but yeah, in a way we're not used to, like, as you say, it'd be so much, I don't know. Well, we don't know what it would look like because we're doing it this way. We don't know what it would look like the other way, but yeah, it's kind of interesting. Oh, thanks, Justin. Well, I'm excited to share the episode. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Oh my goodness, it's going to be so much fun. Don, my friend, you had a slightly different experience to the others.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say, one of the things I have not liked in the past few years is the move to self-tests, because I loved turning up to a room, meeting the other actors outside, having a bit of a chat, going in, having the one-on-one chats or the 1-on-3 chats with the people in the room as you did your piece, the connection with another actor in the room, the connection with the director, a bit of feedback, some challenges thrown to you where they'd often ask you to do it in a totally different way, which is fabulous, something you hadn't thought of. So I've really missed that, being in the room. And I thought this would be a similar thing, but once I actually got used to it, I thoroughly enjoyed doing it. And I really enjoyed the creativity of being able to do, shots, moving the camera through. My wife stepped in and did one long shot for me. but the rest I did myself, and just playing with the shots was really fun to do, and being able to work straight down the barrel of the camera. And for me, I made it another person. Or did I?
You did. Yes, you did. You did. I'm carrying on. You did. You did.
Yeah.
As everyone has been asked to do. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, I thoroughly enjoyed the process, and it was great to have our online chats as well and get stuff in place beforehand. The technical aspects of having to do a buzz track for the editors, having to do cutaways and think about what they might be that might be useful for the editor, and so on. So it's been a really good process. I enjoyed
Who's
it.
me? I'm just going to say.
Oh, that's you. Great.
Yeah, I'm the editor.
Go well.
I do the rough cuts. The nasty takes over the fine cuts and the colouring. So yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you, Don. Your cutaways were great. Just saying. I don't know if I've specifically said that to you yet, but I'll say it publicly now. Yes. No, they were great. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Because it was interesting because, Don, we had a technical problem that because you were filming outside, we had an issue with reception. I couldn't be with you during the filming. So that must have, I don't know, did you feel an additional pressure, or did you feel better that I wasn't there watching you?
Well, we had spoken so much about what we wanted and what we needed that I had a pretty good idea of it anyway. And when I sent it to you, I was going...
I know, I got 4 texts.
Okay.
No, I'm exaggerating. I only got 2 texts, and I totally know that. Yeah, and look, that is the danger of doing it, which is why I have asked most, if I can be there, let me be there, so that pressure's not on you, because that's my job to carry that pressure.
Yeah.
But you did beautiful. I mean, the framing's great, so I was very, very happy with that, and the work was very. I mean, this is it. You've all done it. It's all really grounded work, which you need to be for Shakespeare. So yes, as you know, you were totally great. But it is interesting because I think there were additional challenges for you because I wasn't there to give a second opinion as needed.
Yeah.
So well done on surviving it, getting it all done, sir. I'm very grateful.
It's a pleasure. I love it.
Excellent. So Leo.
Yes.
What was your experience, my darling? What were the challenges you faced?
The 2 challenges I had, sun and wind.
Similar problem to what Mark had, actually. What is it with the UK weather right now? Yes.
Yeah. It's gone back to normal now. It's cloudy,
Because we filmed, that's why we finally got
that was it. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
The dates we chose to film were the brightest in the year so far. In fact, in the last 2 years, I think. And so, as you said, the shadows were too harsh. I mean, I was loving it. I was lapping it up, shirt off, sunglasses, but no good for filming. But
not
then
outside, no,
not outside. No. But then the fun thing was that conversation we had, fun and challenge, was the conversation we had via Zoom where you were on my tab and I gave you a guided tour through our house and into the garden. So you've seen more of my house and garden than most people, even the neighbours have. And that was when you picked up about the wind. We got to sort this wind out. Oh God, So every time I went out to shoot, it was.
We had a system running where I would get a text or a message from Leo every day telling me if the weather had actually got worse. We just had a standing date. Look, if the weather's good, we're starting shooting at 9 or 10 p.m. my time. That's great. And I don't know, they went for a week, didn't it? Where we just had to keep delaying it.
Yeah. We had glorious weather for a week, and I would send her a picture saying, what's about that? No, too harsh.
Yeah. That's blue sky, Leo. There are no clouds. That will not work for us. Yeah, I know. Crazy.
Yeah, look. At one point, I laid the tab on the table outside and said, "Look, that's what we've got. Not a cloud in the sky."
It was amazing.
It was
having lived in London, I was that is just not normal. That was hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm glad we brought you some good weather. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it didn't help you though on that score, but the wind was the biggest thing, and if you want to move on to the enjoyment was that I found that having, I think as Don and the others have alluded to, having to be a one-man band and do everything, you find your creative juices are just going into overdrive. So I thought, right, I've got to sort this wind problem out. How do we do that? So I took that. That's my own mic. I took that off and put it on my phone. It didn't work. Well, it worked. It improved, but it wasn't too great. And then with a lot of Google research and stuff, I actually created my own dead cat.
That's a technical term.
I was about to say that. For those who are watching, if you know, a dead cat is a technical term for a piece of the big furry thing that goes on the end of a microphone. And I had a search around the house and I found a piece, something of my wife's, piece of fake fur, and I wrapped that round the phone over the foam. It was, you know, and it worked. It was great. It was like, yes. So all those creative juices that shot off into totally different directions that were absolutely wonderful and completely put the performance in the background. It was like, oh God, I've got to do that now. Oh, what do I do about? Oh God, I've got to go get into this character. Yeah. Oh God, what am I doing with him now? You know. So all the technical aspects were great. You know, creative juices flowing, but oh my God, I've got to act now. What do I do now?
Which you did beautifully, so we won't worry about that at all.
Yeah, thanks. The check's in the post.
Yeah. I get one back.
Ship.
Yay.
But it was the whole thing, all those challenges, those frustrations, they are the most wonderful thing because they just keep your mind from atrophying, I think. And I think that's what this process and the show must go online process that I did. I also did a short musical video with a friend of mine who I've spoken to you about, Sally, all online, all with Zoom, and all those challenges just keep you going, you know, keep you interested. I mean, I've got nothing to do from now on. I'm scared to death. You know, what am I going to do?
You'll be doing plenty of stuff. Unfortunately, I mean, I think that is actually a really valid point, though, because we're all in that position where we don't really know what is going on, no matter where we're based with the performing arts going forward. So I think that's something that, you know, that's partially where this project initially came from, was the desire to be doing something that's going to keep us a bit focused, keep the creative juices going, hopefully expand our skill sets, which I guess it has in a certain way, you know, to people as well. But it's a fair enough comment, you know, what will we be doing next? It's all right, Leo, you know, I'll put you into work. Sorry, go on, Justin.
Leo could write a Clive James biopic and star in that.
Yeah, right.
You can play Clive James. Good point.
Yes.
All done in your own house.
All done in my own
with your dead cat. Be awesome. Start with
the late great. Yeah.
Neighbors never get to see.
What was that, Chris?
Take the tour that the neighbors never get to see.
Yeah, that's right. On national television.
Didn't realize and all that. It was,
send it to a real estate agent.
But I think this is the thing. And the thing, Leo, I mean, what was so interesting as well is that you did the musical film prior to us shooting.
Yeah.
So that was just beforehand. And it was really interesting to work with you coming off that other project where you were also filming yourself. So you were very fully in the kind of crew actor mode, which was interesting for me to work with, because you, as I said, just come away with working with someone else who obviously had talked you through a lot of tech stuff as well, which was great. Mm. But it means you were framing shots really beautifully, and it was great. I just kind of had to go, yeah, good, that's fine. Let's do that. You know, that works.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. And on top of that, your performance was fabulous, so don't worry about that at all. That did not suffer. And I think that's why our rehearsals are spent so much on focusing on performance, because of this additional technical stuff that everyone's got to kind of put on top of that. You want people to feel confident in their acting work, so that, they're not completely freaking out. I mean, because someone said to me when I first came up with the idea, oh, great, so what, you'll just kind of, everyone gets assigned a monologue and then you just help us by directing on the day and shooting it. And I said, this is not going to happen, because no, that sounds stressful as hell. I'm not putting anyone through that. And I'm really grateful that everybody's, made the time. I know that, again, everyone keeps saying, oh, you're in lockdown, you've got nothing else to do. Well, people do. And, and also we deal with the psychological aspects of lockdown and all the rest of it. So people have made the time to make, to have the rehearsals and stuff. And I'm glad to hear people had fun with it, because that should be really, it's called play for a reason. So, you do a play, it's meant to be fun. So I'm glad people have found that. So Jess, you're still in the process. We're about to get back into rehearsal with you for your filming. And we've had a couple of rehearsals. So how are you feeling at this point, having heard all of those stories?
I'm excited. I'm like paying attention to all the things. I'm like, okay, going to contact Leo about how to make a dead cat. I'm on it. Taking all.
First, catch your cat.
Oh, no. No. We are not advocating that. What was that, Jess?
Great advice. I'll write that down.
I can see I'm going to get a bunch of emails now. We are not encouraging that, people.
Joking.
Yes, joking. We are joking. But yeah, so essentially, because also you're going to be, because Jess, we've got, yours is slightly different to the others in the sense we are bringing in another actor for you.
That's right.
Because you happen to be in lockdown with someone.
I know. I feel very lucky that I live with another actor who's going to play one of my characters for me.
Yes.
But yeah, we also
reveal. We can reveal who it is if you want to.
Yeah. So Fallon Ryan, who was in the previous season of Shakespeare Republic, is going to jump in and play one of my characters, which is cool. Gives me someone to chat to.
Everyone now on the call is feeling so jealous right now that you've got another person in your scene. But anyway.
No, I swung it in there.
I'm sorry, everyone. But yeah, it kind of, because Fallon played Edmund from Lear in season 2 for us. And it just happens that Jess and Fallon are flatmates right now. So it kind of, we kind of thought about the piece that Jess is doing, and we didn't have to have another person, but it kind of adds a different element that we think is going to make it a lot of fun. So hence you've got Fallon. But that also means that we get to share the burden of the technical stuff with somebody else as well, because Fallon's, always across that stuff too. So that's kind of helpful, actually.
So helpful. She's so on top of it. And she's been amazing as well. When I was telling her about all the ideas that you had, Sal, that we were talking about, she was getting into it. She's like, oh, we can do this, we can do that. Yeah.
Oh, God. Again, I might have created a monster. That's fine. We'll have a fabulous time. It'll be great. But yeah, I think, how are you finding, obviously you've got the additional help of Fallon, but how are you finding the process of pulling this together yourself in a lockdown situation where we're not together?
Good. Good. Similar challenges. Similar challenges to other people. In terms of doing the work myself, and then kind of, missing being in the room, but also really enjoying the Skype rehearsal session that we had. And Zoom's amazing, and it's amazing how much we can connect over this. It's been very interesting. I'm also, because I'm living with 2 housemates, navigating space with other people, and one of my housemates just moved out recently, so the furniture that I was planning to shoot with is gone. So just replanning. Replanning how I'm going to shoot.
Right, hence the delay and the fact that Jess is not yet filmed because of what happened there. So we have to first refurnish the house, and then
my challenges are about finishing my house, and then working out.
Yeah, right. The filming will just be a doddle after that. It'll be fine. Oh, my God.
It's so fun just to go, okay, this is what I have. These are the things that I have. Like, how can we make it work? And let's do it. And pull in all the resources that I have available, where the light is and how much natural light, and just make it work, make it happen. And I think that's a beautiful thing about this project and so many other projects that I've seen happen during this time, I feel like it's so interesting how resourceful we can all be.
Yeah, 100%. It definitely has tested us all, I think. And look, it also means that, you know, I know I for one have made decisions about, I've been needing to get a light for ages for self-tests, and now this all happened. It's like, okay, I'm buying that light now. Like, I'm just going to find the cash to do it because, and look, it does help because you do kind of need this kind of stuff going forward. But as you say, it's also working with what's to hand and how creative you can get with that. I mean, when I was building the document, there's a 29-page document, if anyone wants to know, that's full of, here are these videos on how to film yourself, and here's this information about framing and blah, blah. I found a video on how to make your own tripod out of newspaper for your mobile smartphone.
I saw that.
It's in the document, guys. Go look it up. There's a video.
I saw that.
You can do anything with very little if you put your mind to it, I guess, is kind of the message on that one.
I don't know if it helps, Jess, but I managed to make a tripod out of a microphone stand, a selfie stick, and some gaffer tape.
Yep.
And
Amazing.
it's fabulous.
That's
It
great.
was very
Love
cool,
that.
actually. Yep,
Yeah.
right? We're all MacGyvering away like mad to create the stuff we need to make this work. And it's looking pretty amazing considering the situation too. No, that's awesome. Chris, did you want to put anything into the conversation? Because we think we're probably getting close to wrapping up now. We've been chatting for a while.
I had absolutely no challenges at all because, well, I just basically just like I spin and shoot. No, I'm kidding. It's funny. I mean, look, it's like anything. I think anytime you get a, there's an obstacle, you have to kind of find a way. Now, I'm a bit lucky because my kid's a filmmaker, so I'm kind of, all right, dude, you're gonna help me shoot this. All right, here we go. All right, and so, so a lot of that stuff I didn't really have to worry about. But at the same time, I guess you kind of do worry because you got all these things that are going on. And I have to admit, I was a little raw going into it. So I had to kind of keep on task. It was interesting. I mean, but also too, sometimes you get those things that happen in life that you kind of go, all right, well, look, it's here. So we gotta work with it. So you try to work with it. I don't know how it's going to come out. I have no idea. I'm sure Sally's going to be like, hey, we got to reshoot everything because everything you did ain't working. I'm going to let you know that right now. But it's you just kind of go with what you got. You know what I mean? The rehearsals I found interesting because I don't even know. Do we actually rehearse? It's funny, isn't it? But we kind of do this thing where it kind of flows out of life, doesn't it? You know what I mean? And so it becomes that thing, and then and then we kind of go through the puzzle, and then all right, here we go. All right, fine. All right, bye, and then we're out.
Pretty much.
Isn't it weird though? It's kind of I don't even want to think. Sometimes I don't want to think about it because I kind of go, okay, if it works, it works. I don't, you know what I mean? But it sort of becomes its own little thing, But
yeah,
but I wouldn't necessarily say it's a traditional rehearsal.
No. No.
Far from.
No.
All right,
Mark, don't worry, it's fine. I promise. No, it's more about the fact. Okay, so. Well, I joke that, you and I are going to start, you started that actually. I've just kind of jumped on the bandwagon doing a podcast together. I think our rehearsals are actually rehearsals for the podcast, not necessarily what we're doing at the time, acting wise. We talk about a lot of world stuff. We talk about a lot of life stuff. But we do rehearse. Like we do, you may not, see, I just sneak the rehearsal into the rehearsal. You don't realize I've done it. That's obviously what's happening.
Yeah. That thing, yeah. It's possibly that thing, when you that stubbornness, and Lord knows I can be quite stubborn, right?
Think for a minute. Stubbornness, Chris. Anyway, sorry, go on.
That way of easing into it, it's like, all right, I won't tell him what to do, but I'm going to tell him what to do anyway. He just won't know it. So it's like that.
I couldn't possibly say. I'm just going to keep stum on. Okay, so for background, Chris and I worked together for actually, it's going on, what, 4 years or something now? I can't remember. It's been a while.
I have no concept of time.
Yes, actually, neither do I. Neither do I generally. It is lockdown period. None of us have any concept of time right now. But yes, we've known each other for longer. So yeah, we have this back and forth. But that's again a really good example of, you know, as a director, and this is what I want to say, I have to find a way of working with each actor in the way that they're most comfortable working. Otherwise, I'm not going to get the best work out of them. So that's my job, is to actually try and be very careful how attached I get to the way I like to work, because that won't serve everyone. So it's and you know, it takes a lot of work, but it's worth it, because it means that I learn, because I don't know everything. So if I get to work with an actor in the way they like to work, then I learn more about them. I learn more about their processes, and, you know, can take some of that into my own work as well. So, but yeah, that's a good example of how I work with different people. I will work differently, just slightly differently with everybody, as best I can. And I do believe that's a director's job. You have to have your own method of how you work as a director, but flexibility is important. Otherwise, you don't get the best work out of your people, I think. Anyway, that's been my experience. But I think that's also because I come at it from an actor's perspective. One of the first rules, of course, is that you might have your method as an actor. Don't put that on some other actor just because you're not comfortable working in a different way. How do you find a way to meld two different techniques to make them complementary? And really, when you're acting with someone, it's none of your business what their technique is they're using, as long as they're not interfering with you. So, as a director, I kind of apply that, I guess, a bit to the directing process too. But yeah. Interesting. Guys, you've been amazing. Thank you so much for all coming on the call tonight and this afternoon and having chats. I just wanted to... Huh?
Oh, no. I was just going to see just, you know, where are we in the script?
In the script?
What was the code word? What was the code word?
You got a script?
Butterfly.
Point yet? Is it...
We have a script. It's after the questions, Chris. Oh my goodness. It's after the one that says, what have you enjoyed most about working on Shakespeare Republic in this way?
Right. Okay.
I don't know what page. Just scroll down and find it.
Is that the bit where I say Sally's really great to work with?
Damn it. It's all been revealed now. Oh no. No.
You got it, Bridgie.
That's on page 6.
It's on page 6. Stop it. Yes. Just need to say, the only bits that are scripted are the introductions and the ending and the questions. Oh, my goodness. I promise I'm not making people say things about me, good or bad or indifferent. Oh, my good Lord. But yes, I just want to say, I mean, if anyone wants to throw anything else in, because I think it's probably time we wrap up and let people get on with their lives now. So anything anyone wants to say?
Are you going to name the people who are coming on in our next lot of filming?
Chris. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
In a minute.
Next bit, Chris.
See, I got to grab the words and then I pull them in, and then I pull them out. That's how I'm just saying. All right? It's just like, oh, okay, all right.
I just want to say, if anybody wants the Curtain Will Rise Again t-shirt, they're being sold by the Victorian Actors Benevolent Trust as a fundraiser, and you can go to vabt.com.au, look for the shop tab, and it's in there.
I have my t-shirt not to hand. I meant to have it here so I could actually do it. And I'm going to signal. God, Fran, this is so rough and ready tonight. I'm going to signal Millie to try and find my t-shirt. But on the back of it, you will see that also Shakespeare Republic and Incognita Enterprises are supporters of the VABT, very proud supporters of the Victorian Actors Benevolent Trust. And we're listed there with all the other companies on the back.
There are 60 companies listed.
60.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing.
Yeah.
And we're really proud to be listed amongst that number as supporters of the VABT, because you guys do amazing work, Don. You know that. I've told you this before.
We try.
No, the whole committee are amazing. And if any actor in Victoria is out there, and this is obviously very locally centric, but any actor who's in Victoria who's struggling in any way, shape or form, not just financially, but wants help of any kind, the VABT are there for you, and please reach out to them. That's what they're there for.
It's worthwhile knowing that there are benevolent trusts in most places. There's a British one, there's Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland, Western Australia. They all have benevolent trusts. So it's worth, if you're doing it tough, contact your benevolent trust and they should be able to help you.
Yep, absolutely. Even if it's just an ear to listen to at that moment, and then suggestions beyond that if they've got to go research for you. But it's really important to know you're not alone at this time. Thank you, Don. Well, on that note, was there anything else anyone else wanted to say, or should we just move on and wrap this up? Nah.
Looking forward to see everything, that's for sure.
Yeah, just like looking forward to seeing like the finished products now and seeing everyone's fantastic work. That's just it now, just the wait now.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Just check, did you get my cutaways?
I'm really excited.
Yes, I did, Leo.
Just checking.
Excellent work. Yes, I did. Thank you.
Really excited to see everybody's work. Honestly, it's going to be quite exciting.
Yeah, it's looking amazing. I'm sorry that we can't share more at this time. I have started the edit though. It is moving. So we're getting there, and we officially start with the fine cutting tomorrow. And so I think I've got 10 episodes at this point already in. 2 more on the way. We filmed with Phoebe last night, and hello to Phoebe Taylor, who I know is watching, who's one of our other cast members. Filmed with Phoebe last night, so her episode's been shot, so they're still coming in, which I guess brings me to the next part then of this video. So I'd like to thank Chris, Justin, Jess, Leo, Maya, Don and Mark for joining me today, and it's been such a joy to work with all of you, and thank you so much for coming on board for this new season. It's been absolutely brilliant, and I expect to work with all of you in the future regularly. Thank you for doing what you've done and for being so awesome. I do. I love you all. You're all amazing, and I'm really grateful. So before we go, Chris, I think it's your turn to start the next section of the video, according to the script.
Hold on. Before we go,
don't you dare. Yes.
Or do one of these.
You're breaking every one of my director's rules right there. This is payback, right? This is what's going on right now. I'm getting it. Okay, go on. Continue, Chris. Keep going.
Okay. Now, see, I have to make it sound like, since natural. Okay, now before we go, we'd like to announce the names of our next group of performers who will be joining us in the second round of episodes of this season.
Third round. That's a typo.
Scotland, England.
Keep going. Sorry.
Melbourne. That's it.
Third round. Sorry, that was a typo error. Thank you, Chris. Without further ado, the Shakespeare Republic, all the Webster stage cast for round 3 for the season are Philip Hayden, Danielle Farrow, Tim Constantine, Jodie Haig, Emma Kanibi, Yolanda Ovid, Dominic Brewer, who have all been emailed and know that they are in the next round. So yay, guys, you're officially now announced, and you may go and tell people this. All of their stuff will be up on the website tomorrow, and obviously we'll be doing announcements about all of them going forward as well, as we jump back into the craziness that is Shakespeare Republic, all the Webster stage, filming in lockdown with the next round of people. So unless anyone wants to say anything else, I think it's time for us to sign off. I think we're done. We're all done. Thank you again.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Now,
Nice
all
to
of
see
you
you
hang
all.
around. If you want to turn your cameras and mics off, you're allowed to. You can stay with me if you want. Don't disappear off the call, because I'm going to do some housekeeping off air, so we'll do that in a minute. But I want to say to everyone, I hope you enjoyed the chat. If you're watching, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss anything. I promise you the videos don't get quite as insane as this, but we're all a bit tired over here in Melbourne tonight, so I think that's part of the problem, from my perspective anyway. Like us on Facebook. Please like us on Facebook. We actually think that's where we're going to be releasing all the episodes, and we'll be doing trailers on YouTube. So I'm just flagging that with anyone watching the video right now, that you need to like our Facebook page to keep up with what's going on as far as episodes being released goes. You will find us there under Shakespeare Republic. Just search. The page is there for everyone everyone to find. Check out our Patreon if you'd like to support the work and all these fabulous artists at this crazy time in history. And you can visit the website for this new season, which you'll find at allthewebsastage.com. That's allthewebsastage.com. Thank you again for your wonderful support, everyone who's watched. But thank you to everyone who's been so supportive. We really do appreciate it. And I love getting your emails and your messages and your notes. Sorry we haven't been participating with you in the live chat beside this video tonight. We had a few technical problems and ended up that the person meant to be doing that couldn't do it. We will get that right eventually. Third time lucky. Thank you again to this amazing team. Thank you guys for coming on and chatting with me tonight. I'm really grateful, and it's lovely to see all your lovely faces again in a group, which we haven't been able to do until now. And so we will see you online very soon, or as they would say in Shakespeare's time, anon. Bye for now. Stay safe, be kind, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.